Hey guys, welcome back to my next book preview video. This week we have How to Draw Clothing for Manga, Learn to Draw Amazing Outfits and Creative Costumes for Manga and Anime by Naoto Date. I'm not sure how you pronounce the name, apologies to the artist. So a quick look at the front and back there. And then I'll just hold the contents up to the camera for you guys. Okay, so hopefully you can see that on camera. As always, it is a little bit tricky when the pages are a little bit glossy. It's split into 3 sections. Okay, so let's get straight into it. I've propped something up behind this just so that you can see it a little bit better regarding the lighting. A little bit talking about the different sections of the book, which we saw in the content, and of course how to use the book. So section 1 is essentially, as we're about to see, it's learning the fundamentals of drawing, or the fundamentals of drawing clothing. You know, folds, wrinkles, contact points, things like that. And I believe that section 2 is actual examples, so it includes a lot more reference and in terms of like real photos as well, which is good. Because I know when it's an anime or a manga book that sometimes you don't always get real reference or, you know, photo reference. Sometimes it's just examples of the actual artwork, which as long as the artwork's good, that can be fine, but you have to have a lot of faith in the actual illustrator. So section 2 is the reference, and that includes, I think it said 35 different costumes or attire. So, you know, I think from memory it has almost like this, where it's got like male loose fit, male tight fit, you know, different things, different types of tops, coats, things like that. So it's pretty cool actually. And then section 3, I think, is a very small section about how to practice and how to study. It has some examples of like, they've given you the line art, like these kind of line arts, and they talk about, well, it says you can actually draw on them, but we'll see that at the end. So you can see we're in section 1 at the moment. We're still talking about fundamentals. I'm probably going a little bit too slow here. Probably showing a little bit too much. I haven't read through this book front to back, by the way. I only got it through in the post a couple of days ago. But I was pretty excited for this one because clothing is something that I've always wanted to be able to draw. Especially without reference, I think it's really difficult to learn where the wrinkles go. Sure, once you know it, it's probably pretty simple, but for me, I have never learnt it, and I have always wanted to. Okay, so this bit, in case you can't tell, is actually section 2. So this is a bit where it's giving you some actual photo reference, as mentioned, some examples, and talking about the differences. 35 in total. It's actually got quite a lot of comparisons throughout, so it shows you the differences, which I think is really helpful. From reading through it, I will say I still think it's quite complicated when you don't have a good understanding. It does teach you from a beginner's perspective, but I just personally find drapery and folds and creases can get quite complicated. But maybe that's just me. And overall, this book is about 140 pages, maybe a little bit more than that. So it's not a huge book, but it's also not a particularly thin one. It's got quite a lot of information packed in here. I think the artwork is really nice. The examples are really nice. I mean, I'm not familiar with the artist before buying this book, but judging from the artwork in this book, they seem to know what they're talking about. That's always my biggest worry, especially with manga books. When drawing fundamentals, some people who draw manga and anime quite well don't always grasp the fundamentals too well. They kind of skip that and go straight to style, so you have to be a little bit careful. And again, with manga books or how to draw manga and anime books, there are just so many. It's almost a little bit overwhelming, but I don't personally think they're all very good. But especially if you are a complete beginner and you are buying them, you could be buying, I guess, essentially a bad book and picking up some bad habits. But this one seems quite good. It's got about 50 reviews on Amazon at the time of me buying this, and it's overall, I think it has like a 4.7 out of 5. So it's not a huge amount of reviews, but it's still quite reassuring. And the bits I have read as well do seem decent. And for those of you like me who are interested in learning drapery and clothing and costumes, I do have these books as well, Drawing Drapery from Head to Toe by Cliff Young, and the Morpho Clothing Folds and Creases books. So I'll put links in the description box below the video to those if you want to check those previews out. And like in all my videos, I will put links in the description box below this video to where you can buy the book or where I bought the book from. So some of these clothing examples might not be things that I would personally draw, but 35 is probably a decent amount of examples And seeing as it is sort of concentrating on the fundamentals, I think it will all pay off if you learn to study these, even if it's not the kind of clothing. You know, if you don't draw coats, but you learn how to draw them, I guess it's going to pay off regardless of what costumes or what outfits you draw. But there's some pretty cool stuff in here. This book, by the way, was actually recommended by one of you guys in the comments, so thank you for the recommendation. I really like the look of it. I'm quite excited to study from this one, so thank you for that. This is section 3, by the way. These are the line arts and things I was talking about that it recommends you use to fill in the creases, you know, draw the wrinkles. I personally wouldn't draw within a book, but maybe it's just intended for you to trace over. That's definitely the way that I would do it. But yeah, we're getting to the end now, guys. This last section is a very small one, more line arts. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let me know what other book preview videos you guys want to see next. And of course, thank you for watching.